Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good morning and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. Woo! We got some stuff to get into today. It's a little bit of a crazy one today. Lots of things have happened earlier today, and now more things are unfolding. And it's all revolving around Minnesota and Minneapolis, man. I've changed this title I don't know how many times on this YouTube channel or in this YouTube video, because there's something changing, something's happening every 5 seconds. It's absolutely insane what's going on right now. All right, they're talking about all kinds of things all at the same time. So we're going to try to do as much catch up as we can. It can't be a super long show, unfortunately, today, but we are here to have that conversation nonetheless and see what the hell is going on. Okay? Man, pretty crazy stuff. So let's get into this, guys. Let's get into this. So please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms, please make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. I'm on all of them. Make sure you're subscribed here on my main channel right here on YouTube. Right here. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. All right. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out pascalmerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. So go check it out. pascalmerch.com. Okay, guys. We got to get into this, man. There is so much going on. And Nicole B, I just saw in the corner of my eye, what does PMO mean? PMO? What's PMO? I'm curious. I just saw in the corner of my eye. You're like, I saw your last video, PMO. What is PMO? I'm missing that. So let me know what that stands for. But anyway, there's a lot that's been going on. There's something that's really big going on in the Epstein world. And we haven't really talked about Epstein in a minute. Okay, we really haven't talked about Epstein that much. You want to know why? Oh, it ticked you off. Oh, okay. Yeah, Candace. I think it's a little bit of a stretch with that whole situation, with that Zoom call. Just really quick, guys. Okay, if you guys aren't savvy to the situation, Candace Owens has been doing a deep dive into Erica Kirk. She is now starting a whole 6-part series where she's going to be exposing, quote unquote, exposing Erica Kirk. I'm going to be real. This is the same thing that she was doing with the Macrons. Okay, the president of France and First Lady. Okay, Brigitte Macron, Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron. She did a whole deep dive, I think it was an 8-parter, if I remember correctly. But anyway, she's planning on doing another series where she's solely focused on Erica Kirk. It's pretty wild. But anyway, I just did a video about this. I highly recommend you guys go check out these last 2 videos I did. Yesterday, I did a video where Candace exposed this audio of Erica Kirk, basically really super hype about numbers, merch sales, the viewership, the attendance, etc., all surrounding Charlie Kirk's memorial. Okay, thought that was a little wild. It's insane. It's wild. It's not the greatest look for Erica Kirk, but then I could see other angles. I could see the other side of the fence. You know what I mean? I could see the other views. But then yesterday, Candace Owens shows a full, damn near 8-minute video, collectively, 8-minute video of Erica Kirk having basically a team Zoom call meeting with other employees of TPUSA. And, to me, it seemed harmless. To me, it seemed harmless. That's all I'm going to say. I understand how some people were saying, "Oh, this was like a manipulation tactic to try to get these people to work their fingers to the bone, so on and so forth." But I got to be honest, I felt that Candace is kind of reaching with that one. But like I said, go and check out the video, see it for yourself, and check it out. Now, here's the thing: two things can be true at the same time. She could literally be elated, giddy, happy, doing damn near backflips and cartwheels about the merchandise sales and the amount of people that converted to Christianity and the amount of people, you know what I mean? The turnout was massive, right? The money that they garnered, massive. You can have somebody be really hype about the monies, right? And the reaction from the world. But then you can also be grieving at the same doggone time. Two could be true at the same doggone time. So within this Zoom call, these phone calls, whatever, in this Zoom call, she's clearly, distraught, disheveled. Her face ain't beat to the gods. Like, her hair ain't all, blown out or anything like that. She looks like she's grieving. She looks like she's an absolute emotional wreck and just trying to hold it together just so she can do this conversation with these TPUSA employees, right? So again, seeing that, I'm like, I don't see anything. I don't see a problem with that. I don't like the one that she did a whole other week later where she's like, yeah, look at all this money we made. That is insane. That sounds insane. But the whole 6 days, 5-6 days after she lost her husband, like, I don't know. I don't see it as like something sinister is going on. You know what I mean? And no, I'm not riding this conspiracy train. Not at all. I'm always asking questions about what the hell's going on. And of course, what Candace Owens has been putting out here as of late has been interesting. And we haven't really been on Candace Owens stuff as of late because some of the stuff has just been absolutely insane, just out there. But these audio, video clips, matter. And I think that they're very interesting. And I know that a lot of people are talking about it. So had to talk about it. I'm not riding that conspiracy train. Hell to the no. What I do want to know is, which I feel like we've kind of, with this whole thing, Candace has kind of veered off the beaten path a little bit, is who actually took the life of mother-loving Charlie Kirk? That's what I'd like to know. I don't know about you, but I'd like to know that. But she's literally going in and going, oh, look, she's so excited about the money and the views. Yeah, it's not the greatest look, but does that connect her to the unaliving of Charlie Kirk? That's what I'd like to know. You see what I'm saying? Can we get that answered first? And if she is connected to that, then we can go back to those videos and that audio, and we can all look at that with that mean, nasty, stank side eye. Okay, we gotta be like, oh, so she was nasty the entire time. She was planning this the whole entire time. You see what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? But it's unfortunate because we live in this time where everything is extremely polarizing. You are either for it or against it. You either think she's a bad person or you think that she's, just a grieving wife that's made some bad, not the greatest choices optically in front of the public eye. The leather pants, the holding the back of JD Vance's head as she did a whole full body hug on his ass. Like they could have had a whole baby right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. She's not made the greatest of choices all the time, but at the same time, let's be real. Who's perfect 24/7? Right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, the The audio that she put out where she's like sitting there all excited about numbers and money, bad look, really bad look, not the greatest. But this one with the Zoom call where she's just trying to rally the troops, rally the guys, rally the employees and all that. It sounded like she was just trying to get them to not run away, right? Not veer off and take off because Charlie Kirk just died. And of course, everyone's like, oh my God, what? Aside from, oh my God, this is a tragedy, they're also going, what does this mean for the future of this business? Do I need to go, look at some jobs on Indeed again? Do I need to go out here and try to, knock on some doors and send out my resume? Do I need to update my resume or no? And I think that all she was doing is like, hey, don't worry. You're good. Stick with me. We are still on his mission. We are not stopping. And in fact, we're going to go 10 toes down on this even more. Right? But that's just what I think. I know some people are like, oh, I can't believe Pascal. I can't believe you think differently. Nah. It's like, well, I think Candace is reaching, baby. I think she's reaching. Period. She reaching on that one. And the thing is like, I get it. She needs to make content. She makes money off that content and all that too. But I don't know. Some things you just got to lay to rest. But she's just pulling out everything and she's just side-eyeing everything. Erica Kirk could literally write a poem, right? Like a roses red, violets are blue. Charlie Kirk's my husband. And I love him too. Or something like that. And she'll be like, the punctuation's all wrong here. Don't you see something sinister going on here? You don't see in this should be a haiku. Okay. But she does it in this type of format. She wrong. You see what I'm saying? Like, like I said, some of it's a bit reaching. And then I'm like, what does this have to do with his demise, with his passing? Connect the dots for me. You know what I'm saying? Connect the dots. And let's get back to the investigation part. Shoot, go back to the Egyptian planes, okay? Just go back to that for a second. Just go back to the Egyptian planes or the eyewitness that saw Erica Kirk and the other dude, the head of security at this Fort Huachuca base. You know what I mean? Huachuca on that thing. You get it? Nobody gets that. But you know what I mean? Like, go back to that for a second. You know what I mean? Do me a solid and go back to that. Because Zoom calls don't show, ooh, she's up to something sinister. She's a evil villainess. I just don't see it. But I can see how other people can. People are like, oh, she's manipulating the crew. Possibly. Or maybe she's just trying to tell the crew, hey, don't fret. We are still here. We are still strong. The company's not falling apart. In fact, we're only going to get stronger and better very fast. But that's my thoughts. Okay? So definitely go check out the video. It's very interesting. Go check it out. What do you get a second? All right. But we have got to get into this conversation. There is something very, very big going on. And I knew this issue was going to happen. Y'all. I knew it. Some of y'all are like, what are you talking about? Well, it's in the title now, baby. Okay. I had to change the title like 4 different times before we even started this mother-loving show. Because something happened yesterday that we hadn't even gotten the chance to really talk about. And it tells me that somebody got Trump in their little hands. Take a look at this. We talking about Jizzy, y'all. Yeah, she back in the combo again, baby. And you want to know what's going on now? Yeah, she's playing her cards. Okay? She has a couple aces up her sleeve. In fact, 29 aces up her sleeve. And she about to screw Trump bad. Or she going to get what she wants. My assumption is that she going to get what she wants. She going to be let go. She is going to get liberated. Trust me, it's going to happen. You want to know why? Well, just take a look at that title right there, baby. Just take a look. Take a gander. Take a little look-see-loo. Don't you see something? 29 friends of Epstein have been protected by the DOJ. I'm going to hit the dun-dun-dun. 29! Little less than 30, just in case you wonder if I know how to count. 29 friends that Trump DOJ went out of their way to protect. Some paid their way for protection. Oh, this is all kinds of bads, guys. This is all kinds of bad. But it's going to be great. And I'm not happy about this, let me tell you that. But this is going to be great for Jeezy. You want to know why? Because she had this information all along. Here's the thing. She went straight to, hey, I never saw him do anything bad around women and other women. Never did I ever see anything of the sort. Trump was an absolute gentleman. Said that in front of Todd Blanche because he was sitting there in front of her being like, we're putting this on record. It's recording. So I need you to say that Trump was a gentleman at all times, that he committed no crimes in your presence. And then I will give you the best prison that money can buy. How's that? That what you're going to do? Yes. He is absolutely wonderful. He's an absolute is that the microphone? Absolute gentleman. Absolutely. Never saw anything nefarious involving Trump and other women, especially the little women. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Good. Okay. That's literally what happened. And then she goes into a club fed. Well, they're calling it a club fed, right? And she's getting weighted hand and foot. Real talk. She gets snacks whenever she wants. She gets to go to the gym at any hour of the day so she can get her workout in, get her swole on. You know. You never know. She might meet Thunderclap. If anybody remembers that story. Remember? Emmanuel Hotto, Rebecca Hotto, Thunderclap. Nobody remembers that? That was a very crazy callback. But if you do remember, just put a thumbs up in the chat, okay? But here's the thing. She's trying to get nice and swole. For who? No, she's trying to get that summer bod. Why? Because she's going to be out by then. Now that you hear this, okay? Now that you hear all this, it's interesting because she's put out paperwork being like, set me free. Set me free, mother lover. Set me free. And now she put out this information. Oh, you're not going to set me free? Oh, wait a second. I got some more stuff for that ass. Here it is. 29 friends that have been covered up by the DOJ, Trump's DOJ. In fact, some of them paid their way out, allegedly, from being subpoenaed. And she has that information. You don't think Trump's going to sit there and go, well, she's a nice lady. I wish her the best. Right? You don't think he's going to be scrambling, tripping over his own cankles to get over there? To be like, what do you need? She's going to be like, I want my freedom. And then she'll be sent somewhere where she can't get extradited or something crazy like that. Like I said, she's trying to get her summer bod. She's trying to get her beach bod ready. Because she's about to get emancipated. Get ready for it, guys. because it's coming. Oh, and I'm telling you right now, if it does actually happen this way, oh, are we going to be mad? No, let me just say this. Are we going to be mad? How's the world going to react? Because right now we're not reacting to the fact that we haven't seen anything from the DOJ as far as these Epstein files. They put out some things and then they stopped. You know what I'm saying? They put out a few things, Chris Tucker, David Copperfield, Michael Jackson, right? They put out all these photos. Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton, and then, oh, guess what? Bill Clinton, right? We saw all that, but then they stopped. So why isn't there any rage or anger out in the streets about the Epstein files? Yes, we talk about it all the time. We're like, release the files, but what's going on? They haven't released a damn thing. And if she gets let go, what are we going to do? Are we just going to be like, oh, damn it, and just kick some dirt in the air and that's it? Now, I'm not sitting here saying that we need to be out in the streets causing a riot or anything like that, but I'm just realizing that I don't think we're going to be reacting the way that we should be reacting. Up in arms, frustration, demanding the transparency of these files. But we're not going to react that way, I don't think. We'll be busy looking at something else. All these red herrings, Greenland, Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, Mexico, Colombia, all those things. While this actually happens, something else is going to be going on, either in America or overseas. Oh, Renee Good, Alex Pretti, all those things. All of them. Yet still, they deserve justice. I'm not sitting here saying that they don't, but we've averted our eyes to that, right? We go, oh my gosh, and we're over there. While they're going, yes, be mad. Yes, demonstrate out in the streets for Alex Pretti while we do these other things over here. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. Okay? Let's get into this. Okay? Studying Epstein twist as Ghislaine Maxwell claims 29 friends cut secret deals. Great deals, huge deals with DOJ. So she claims that 29 friends of Jeffrey Epstein were shielded through secret settlements by the Justice Department. I got to hit the dun. So this piece of trash socialite, I'm just adding my own words here, thank you, filed a habeas corpus petition on December 17th, seeking to overturn her conviction. Remember that? Remember, we talked about that, right? Arguing that prosecutors cut deals with Epstein associates while prosecuting her as if no such agreements existed. We're getting more information now. It's not only that she said, hey, set me free, man. Set me free. No, now she's saying, no, this is bad. There's so much, there's so much nastiness going on. In fact, 29 plus men were involved in all this crap. And none of them are going to see any justice served to them. So she alleges that 25 men reached undisclosed deals, while 4 alleged co-conspirators were known to investigators, but were never charged. She does not name any of these individuals, but she knows the names, of course. Why would she say 29 individuals? 25 did undisclosed deals that she knows about, and 4 of them weren't even investigated or ever charged. Why do you think she said those things out loud? Because she knows exactly what's going on. And she's dangling that piece of meat right in front of Trump, being like, I know something you also know, but you don't want anybody to know it at all. So you give me what I want, or I'm exposing all 29 men's names and you are screwed. Whoever you're trying to protect will be exposed. I want a really nice villa overseeing the beach, somewhere that I can't get extradited. That's what she's doing. None of the 4 named co-conspirators or the 25 men with secret settlements were indicted. This is what the court filings say. Maxwell argues that the alleged concealment of these deals undermined the fairness of her trial and violated her constitutional rights. New evidence reveals that there were 25 men with which the plaintiff lawyers reached secret settlements that could equally be considered as co-conspirators, the legal document states. None of these men have been prosecuted, and none has been revealed to petitioner. She would have called them as witnesses had she known. In the sprawling court filing, Maxwell mounts multiple lines of attacks, forming the basis of her habeas corpus argument, including allegations of juror misconduct and suppression of evidence. Yeah, this woman needs to get fired. This woman needs to get mother-loving fired. All right? Fired. She alleges that prosecutors violated the terms of Epstein's 2007 non-prosecution agreement in Florida, which she claims extended immunity to those actual co-conspirators. Maxwell asserts that she was prosecuted for political reasons while other individuals escaped justice. The 64-year-old piece of trash is serving a 20-year sentence at a federal prison Camp Bryan, a minimum security federal women's prison in Bryan, Texas. She was convicted, which we already know, in New York in December of 2021 for STing over her role in recruiting and grooming littles for attacks by Epi between 1994 and 2004. So for 10 whole years, she was out there doing the dirty. But here's what's interesting. One thing is for sure. She may have the upper hand on Trump here because she says, oh, I don't know the names. Are you sure about that? She knows that she has 29 co-conspirators that either bought their way out or were ignored and were never investigated or ever charged by the DOJ. Why would she say 29 to be exact? It's not like she said around 32. No, she said 29 individuals, four of them weren't even investigated, weren't even charged, or they were being looked at, but then they were never charged. Don't you find that a little bit odd? Don't you think that's a little bit odd? No conversation whatsoever with those 29 potential monsters. She calls them co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein. That is an absolute massive thing. But here's the thing. She's going to get what she wants. And the world's going to be enraged. Unless, and only unless, and I still hold on to a little bit of faith, a little bit of hope that maybe Trump is going to go, oh, hell no, sweetheart. You're going to be exactly where you are. Go ahead and say their names. I don't care. If you do say those names, I will sick the law enforcement on them and let judgment reign upon them, right? But I don't think that's going to go down the way it's going to go down. I think she's secretly going to get moved somewhere else, basically set free. And it's going to be done in the dark, in the thick of night, when we don't expect it. And then suddenly it's going to be like, well, there's new information, guys. Ghislaine Maxwell is no longer at this prison in Bryan, Texas. You see what I'm saying? Imagine that. You see what I'm saying? But I think I agree with Skateboard here. Say every name, say every name but me. It's like say every single name. I agree about that. Say every name. State them. GHISLAINE should be doing the right thing, but let's not forget, she is the slimiest of the slimy. She is the Robin to Epstein's very demented and up Batman. You see what I'm saying? So do you really think she's going to do the right thing? Hell no. She's going to do the right thing for herself because that's all she gives a damn about. Clearly, she did some things for herself. That's how she got over at Club Fed, right? So again, it's trash to me that she is dangling that information, is dangling that right over everybody's head, especially Trump, because she's got leverage. And that's the only reason why she's saying those things out loud, because she is really trying her damnedest to get what she wants. Now, Mayor Frey is doing speaking, okay, and this is all in regards to what's going on in Minneapolis. So let's take a look at this, okay? That's not him. I got to scroll up a little bit, but let's take a listen to what Mayor Frey got to say.
Of life in Minneapolis. As mayor, we can this.
Well, this is exactly the group therapy session that I needed. The defenders of parks and streets, which indeed is an honorable profession, we are now becoming the defenders of our republic and the defenders of democracy. And it is heartwarming to be here with all of you because, you know, I see your name on amicus briefs. I see your faces on TV. I feel the support from across the entire country, and we recognize that one great American city is experiencing an invasion. That is an invasion on our democracy, on our republic, and on each and every one of us. And the fact that you all are standing up means the world. Thank you.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can find a better audio. Okay, let me just find that real quick. All right. Let me just play this. The audio is kind of low, apparently, but it's loud and clear in my headphones. But let's continue. I'm gonna see if I can find a better one. Okay, hold tight.
You know, never in a million years did I think that we would be in this place where troops and federal agents by the thousands have been deployed.
Hold on, guys. I think I found another one. Hold on. Okay.
Defenders of parks and streets.
It's all right.
It is an honorable
It's better.
profession. We are now becoming the defenders of our republic and the defenders of democracy. And it is heartwarming to be here with all of you because, you know, I see your name on amicus briefs. I see your faces on TV. I feel the support from across the entire country, and we recognize that one great American city is experiencing an invasion. That is an invasion on our democracy, on our republic, and on each and every one of us. And the fact that you all are standing up means the world. Never in a million years did I think
that we would be in this place.
Much
where
better.
Troops and federal agents
By the thousands have been deployed on a great American
city, where the Department of Justice is used as a weapon to silence dissent, where the very foundational principles of our democracy and of our republic are questioned. You know, I didn't take this job to get into the business of defending democracy. I did it because being a mayor has always been my dream job. There's great honor in filling potholes. It is noble to keep people safe and to build affordable housing. That work, which we do every single day, is foundational to the principles of our republic. And all the same, we find ourselves in a different position right now. We are on the front lines of a very important battle. And it's important that we aren't silenced, that we aren't put down. This is not a time to bend our heads in despair or out of fear that we may be next, because if we do not speak up, if we do not step out, it will be your city that is next. For those of you that have been watching the news and what's happened in Minneapolis, I'll tell you, it is that bad. People's constitutional rights have been trampled. Thousands of federal agents have descended on a city that has 600 police officers. 600 police officers and somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 federal agents, ICE, and Border Patrol. People have been indiscriminately pulled off the street. Discrimination takes place only on the basis of, are you Somali, are you Latino, or are you Southeast Asian? And then American citizens have been yanked away from their homes after that solely because they look like they are from Mexico or Ecuador or Somalia. That's not how we operate in America. In America, we have these foundational principles of law. We abide by our Constitution. The rule of law is not just something that you say, but it is something that we practice each and every day. And as mayors, we know that. As mayors, we operate in the reality business. It is a reality that we've got to keep people safe on a daily basis. And by the way, we do that, partnering with a number of different jurisdictions, working with our federal government. In Minneapolis, we've worked extensively with the ATF and the FBI and the DEA, the U.S. Attorney's Office, to successfully drive down crime. And despite what you may hear on different media channels, crime is down in virtually every category and virtually every neighborhood of Minneapolis. Minneapolis is a safe city. It is less safe when chaos reigns supreme. It is less safe when families do not feel comfortable going to school or buying food at the grocery store because they're worried that their very family might get ripped apart. It is less safe when we have roving bands of agents marching down the street just looking for somebody who might be concerned. And I gotta tell you, everybody is concerned when you have that kind of occupation. And so we've been very clear. The Operation Metro Surge needs to end. This kind of conduct and siege needs to stop, not just in Minneapolis. It needs to stop nationwide. What's become clear to me is this is obviously not about safety. This is not even about immigration.
Huh?
This is about silencing a narrative.
What you mean?
Or a political position that differs from that of a federal administration. We've seen this kind of conduct in other countries. We cannot see it right here in America. This is not a Democratic or a Republican issue. Never once have I made this partisan. This is a foundational principle of making sure that the endurance of our republic can continue on. It may seem like I'm talking too much on the macro level, or maybe this is a concerning thing to say, but I got to tell you, we're seeing it in our streets right now. And it is up to each and every one of us to partner together, to work together, to protect those ideals that we hold firm. The power of the federal government is awesome. The military force that they have, they got tanks, they got bazookas. They can lay siege on American cities with thousands of agents and even troops, far outnumbering that of local police department. In Minneapolis, we've heard them say that they will end this siege when we hand over voter rolls. We've seen them attack and invade not just with this occupation, but also with the Department of Justice being used as a weapon. They're investigating me and several other local elected officials, not because we've done something wrong, but because we have exhibited one of the core responsibilities that both I and you have as mayors. And that is the core and foundational responsibility to speak on behalf of your constituents. I'm going to continue to speak on behalf of my constituents. We won't be intimidated in Minneapolis, and if there's any place to take inspiration from, don't take it from me. Take it from the 435,000 Minneapolis residents that call our great city home and the many more that come and go. Take it from the tens of thousands of people that have stood up and peacefully protested to say we love our neighbor, we care about our collective family, and we're going to do everything possible to keep them safe. Take inspiration from the people that are dropping their neighbors off to the grocery store or standing guard outside a daycare to make sure that their families don't get ripped apart. Take it from the countless people that are exhibiting this foundational love of both city and, importantly, country. This is an opportunity to be a patriot, to stand up for the kinds of liberties and freedoms that we all hold dear. As a nation of immigrants, it should not matter where you are from. We rise based on our own merit. We fall based on our own flaws. Whole communities are not held accountable for the actions of a few. In America, we've got that kind of due process. We got to stand by that due process where you actually have rights. Those rights are exhibited in the form of a court system. And the battlefield that we need to be operating on is that court system right now. Look, in cities, we have laws that we abide by. We have work that we need to do. And the reality is you can't exercise the extraordinary power that the federal government has to force nationwide outcomes on localized issues, leaving our own citizens as collateral damage in a hostile negotiation. By their own words, what we've seen this administration push for is this whole concept that might makes right. That might makes right. Stephen Miller has pushed for this concept, calling it the iron law of the world. That might makes right. Stephen Miller is wrong. Time and again, America has rejected the law of the jungle. Time and again, America has rejected this notion that might makes right. That notion and that belief that we are of something greater than simply force has allowed our country to rise in international influence and allowed great cities to be laboratories of democracy. We must reject the notion that might makes right again and again. We must understand that it is not the clash of iron that furthers the notions of democracy, but it is the intense battle of ideas. Might does not make right. In cities, we all recognize that ideas make right. And so, from Portland, Maine, to Portland Avenue in Minneapolis, to Portland, Oregon, mayors, we do not back down to bullies. We stand up for democracy. We understand that the common ideals that we hold are essential to the endurance of our great republic. This may not have been a battle that we signed up for. Each and every one of us entered public service for a different reason. Some of us entered to keep our cities safe. Some of us entered because we love to build affordable housing. Some of us entered because we care about climate. But now is also a moment where we all got to stand together. You have this unique relationship with the American electorate. This is more important than being a Democrat or a Republican. This has to do with our day-to-day lives, who we are as a people, who we are as a democracy, and who we can be as American citizens. Mayors have that important role. I know that you will carry it out, and I cannot be prouder to be part of this tremendous team. And so, on behalf of all of these incredible Minneapolis residents that are going through a very difficult time right now, to say the least, thank you. On behalf of the next city and the city after that that may experience this kind of invasion, thank you. We got to hold rock solid. We cannot back down. Our cities, our mayors are what will hold this democracy together. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, that is very interesting. Of course, I feel like what we just heard is a lot of things that we've already heard a million times before. You know what I mean? They're waiting for obviously there's a lot of people that want ICE out of Minneapolis, out of the state. Here's the thing. This is a template. This is a perfect example of what could actually come for, what's about to happen, in other cities. Because again, this is coming to a theater near you for sure. The same thing. Just depends on how your mayor, and your the governor of your state is going to take that situation. Here is something else I do want to share with you guys as well. Hold on. I don't know if you guys could still hear me, but my computer just kind of froze. Computer just froze, man. That is crazy. Whole thing just froze. Can you guys even see me? Hold on. Can you guys even see me? Okay, you guys can see me. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Oh, you guys can see. That was ridiculous. The whole thing just froze. Sorry about that, guys. I was like, I'm trying to shut down programs and stuff. I'm wondering what the heck is going on, right? So my apologies. That was crazy. The whole thing just froze. My whole computer froze. But as I was, there is something I did want to share with you guys real quick, because there has been a new update. This is very, very short, but I do want to share with you guys this information. If you've been following the Sonia Massey case, right? You have Sean Grayson, the officer that unalived, literally shot her right there in her kitchen, technically her kitchen, because she was holding a boiling pot of hot water or a pot of boiling water. Okay. Yeah. We got an update because Sean Grayson finally has been sentenced today. That happened today as well. So I'm going to share that with you guys. Yes, I did get the equipment. It's right here. It's right here, guys. Boom. Did I ever get that boots ground in from? Yep. I have. I've gotten it. I'll be using it most likely tonight for various reasons. But yeah. So I do have the equipment. There hasn't really been any protests here. There's been like 2, and they've been at very random times, you know, as far as protests and demonstrations that have happened recently. But when there is one that actually happens that I know about and I'm able to get out there, I will be out there and I will be covering it. It's just been pretty crazy. But again, that's when there's a protest. What I'm doing tonight is something completely different. Okay. Completely different. And you guys will most likely see. No, kinky stuff, guys. Come on now. Not like that. No, you'll understand soon. Okay. You'll understand soon, but it's something completely different. And so you'll see later on tonight. Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, later on tonight, you will see. Okay. But I do want to share this with you guys. Okay. This is pretty crazy. He has been sentenced. He's been sentenced. This guy, Sean Grayson, the one who pulled the trigger, okay, on Sonia Massey, has now been sentenced to 20 years in prison. Let's take a listen.
Breaking news for you. A sentencing just wrapped up for the former sheriff's deputy convicted of killing a woman in her Springfield, Illinois home after she called 911 for help. Sean Grayson, he was convicted of second-degree murder last October for the 2024 shooting of Sonia Massey. CBS News reporter Karen Watt joins us from the courthouse in Springfield, Illinois. Karen, what can you tell us? How many years was he sentenced?
Yeah, Mugo, it was certainly an emotional morning in court. They spent an hour in there deliberating during that time, and ultimately the judge handed down a sentence of about 20 years in prison plus 2 years mandatory supervised release. We are about to hear from the family who definitely showed an outpouring of emotion. We heard sniffles and tears. They're expected to address us pretty soon in here, but Sean Grayson right now is 31 years old. If he were to serve that entire sentence, he would be about 51 by the time he is to get out. He is eligible for parole, though, so that could also cut his time in prison short.
I'm not happy about that. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, his prison time could be cut short. I feel like this man should have been locked up for forever. That's what I think. I think what happened to this woman was completely unjust. 20 years is nowhere near enough, in my personal opinion. The fact that he was found guilty of second degree rather than first degree, in my personal opinion, I don't know. I get it. You know, some people look at the confines and the getting technical about first or second degree M, but at the same time, this man literally lit this woman up for no reason. That's what I think. I think it was one big misunderstanding. He was already roided up or whatever. He was all up in his fifis about God knows what. Maybe he had a bad day. And then he walked into that place in a bad mood and was having to deal with this woman. And he just, I don't know. But I rebuke you in the name of Jesus it's not a threat. It does not mean I'm going to throw this boiling pot of water in your face. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. So yeah. He might get very, very short amount of time. And then he'll be back out here in these streets to do God knows what all over again. It's trash.
We did hear from 4 victim impact statements, including Sonia Massey's 2 kids who are 16 and 19, her son and daughter, and then also from Sonia Massey's parents as well, who gave emotional, compelling statements. And we also heard from Sean Grayson himself, which was much of a shock to many sitting in the courtroom, but he ultimately expressed remorse and said, "There's no words I could say to take back their pain," but he admits that he was unprofessional that night, and he said he apologized. He said there was something I could do to bring her back. So,
yeah, I mean the fact that he's like, "Oh, I admit that I was unprofessional that night." You know how many times that this dirty cop, how many opportunities, how many chances he had to just walk away from the job, and he just kept going with his job. The amount of times he's been moved around from department to department to department because of being a dirty cop. Just put that in your brain for a second. This guy was a dirty man, and yet he still had a mother-loving job. And now he's going, "Oh, well, I woulda, coulda, shoulda." Sorry. I just think it's dumb. I get it. Denial is one hell of a drug, but at the same time, like, this man should never have been a cop in the first damn place.
amid all of those statements, that is the sentence the judge ultimately handed down: 20 years in prison with 2 years mandatory supervised release. We're going to hear from the family pretty soon, so we'll hand it back to you. Thanks.
Yeah, and I think there's a statement from the family, so I'm going to play that too. Yeah. Are they happy? Are they sad about this?
We got and killed Sonia Massey and the coverage over in Springfield.
Grayson represents another meaningful step towards justice for this family. While no sentence can ever restore what was taken from Sonia's family or undo the harm that was caused by this horrific act to this community, this outcome affirms a critical principle that no one is above the law, and an unlawful use of force will carry meaningful consequences. This case is about acknowledging Sonia's family, their humanity, confirming the gravity of what occurred when she was killed in her own home after calling for help, and law enforcement's responsibility to protect the public rather than place them in harm's way. The passage of Sonia Massey law, which strengthens police hiring standards here in the state of Illinois, reflects a broader recognition that failures in the system must be addressed to prevent future tragedies like this from occurring. We hope today's sentence sends a clear message that abuses of power will not be excused nor minimized. We thank the prosecution, their office, for presenting the facts and the evidence that allowed the court to reach its decision. Ben Crump Law remains committed to standing with Sonia's family as they continue to grieve and heal. At this time, we will let the family members, her immediate family members, give their immediate reactions to today's decision. We'll start with her daughter, Sonia. It's her daughter, Summer.
I'm thankful for all the love and support that everybody has came out and shown. And I'm grateful that we got the maximum sentence that we could. 20 years is not enough, but like they did what they could do. You know what I'm saying? Ain't we got too much to say.
He should have got a life.
Now we will have a statement from, would you like to speak? Mr. Wilburn, this is Sonia's.
I just want to say that we serve an awesome God, because never in the history of these United States has a law enforcement officer been given this kind of sentence, a maximum sentence of 20 years. We don't think that's enough. And the law needs to be changed here in Illinois so that there's a greater value placed on second-degree murder here in the state. But right now, I am just overwhelmed with joy. We prayed that this would happen, that he would get the maximum sentence. But we look forward to him being prosecuted federally for violation of Sonia's civil rights. I don't care about who's running this country right now, but I'm gonna let you know that as her dad, I want him prosecuted federally too, so that when his sentence is up here in the state of Illinois, he can begin his federal sentence in the federal penitentiary. Thank you.
Mr. Wilburn, he could be out in.
I'm not going to take any questions right now. I'll take questions when we get to the other place.
I just want to thank everybody for the support, even the media. Thank you for letting everybody get our story out and for believing in us. And I want to thank the judge. And I'm so grateful to get the full extent of the sentence. Thank you.
Thank you all. We appreciate you and your time. And of course, like we said, we will be.
Can you repeat
ready
the address for the press conference?
801.
Yeah. Again, you know, I agree. I don't think there was nowhere near enough. Yes, justice is being served here, but it's not. I don't think it's full justice. I just don't think it's full justice. That's just my personal opinion. This woman should still be alive. This man should not have had that job. And given the fact that it doesn't matter if he acknowledges his wrongdoing, it doesn't change the fact that she's not here anymore. He should have been getting worse. But they were very nice to him. Very nice to him. Okay. All right. There's that. So we have got to get into this other thing. Hold on. I got to close some of these windows. I think that's why I think that's the reason why my computer's tripping. But we have got to get into some other things here. One thing's for sure. The FBI apparently seized a bunch of some evidence in Georgia revolving around the 2020 election. So we got to take a look at this. This is insane. Very interesting.
So at the moment, the FBI is going through a trove of evidence seized during a search on a Georgia election office. Sources telling Fox News it was related to the election of 2020. This is Fulton County. David Spunts in Washington, D.C. David, hello.
Bill, hello. FBI agents spent most of the afternoon inside the records warehouse for the Fulton County, Georgia Board of Elections. The matter is sealed before a court meeting. Details are limited, but we can report, as you mentioned, this is related to the 2020 presidential election. Sources tell Fox that agents retrieved documents, phones, computers, ballot boxes after a judge signed a warrant. President Trump has long made Georgia and Fulton County a target of his complaints regarding the 2020 election.
It was kind of disbelief. It's been a long time in coming, I think, and getting a lot of the answers that need to be given.
This is an order from on high to try to disrupt Fulton County's election administration just because Donald Trump is still mad that he lost the 2020 elections.
Shortly after the
I also want to point out we have midterms coming up here, guys. Midterms are going to be happening here soon. Why do you think he's doing all this? Yeah, of course, it's all about him frustrated about the elections and him losing the election. But he's also, I think, trying to gear up for something in the very near future. The midterms are coming up very soon. And if it shows like, oh, there's corruption, he could move things around. He can move the goalpost so that he can manipulate the elections before the actual elections actually happen. You see what I'm saying? Because he knows right now that he's screwed. He knows it's about to be a blue wave, and he does not want that to happen. So he's going to try to say, hey, we gotta rev this up, guys. We need to look into what's going on with all the elections all over the place, because there are plenty of places where it's just nothing but fraud. And if he's able to unearth that, if he's able to actually show that proof positive, what do you think the end result's going to be? What I said, he going to try to find a way, or he going to make a way. Especially with this whole midterm. For the midterms, definitely. He wants it to be a red wave. That's it. Not a blue Nami. He wants a red wave. And it's not looking like it's going to happen that way. Not after everything. Not with this whole thing that happened to Renee Good, Alex Pretti. You got this. By the way, tomorrow is shutdown day. Government will be on shutdown again. God knows how long that's going to be. I'm just saying. So let's continue. He's going to try to avoid that as best as he can. And he's going to do that as by any means necessary, guys.
Election, Trump spoke to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and told him to find 11,780 more votes to win the state. At the time, Raffensperger said he felt pressure from Trump. He still says so. He's denied any widespread election fraud. Fulton County DA Fani Willis brought state criminal charges against then former President Trump and others in 2023 for an alleged conspiracy to overturn the election. But her prosecution was famously derailed completely after it was revealed she had an intimate relationship with the top prosecutor on her team. Interesting to note, Dana and Bill, that Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, was on scene yesterday with no official explanation why for her exact role in the probe. Back in December, the DOJ sued Fulton County, Georgia, seeking access to 2020 voting records after state officials allegedly failed to respond to a subpoena. Fox News has learned the FBI's Atlanta field office head was forced out in recent days, but it's unclear if this is all related, but certainly a story we're watching.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, you know, how much of this is actually true? How much of this is just theater, political theater to throw everybody off? I don't know, right? See, Christina just said this on Twitch. Thank you so much for the comment. Do you believe him when he says they found fraud? No, not at all. Sorry, guys. I don't. Look at all the, I mean, I'm sorry. If you keep on lying, if you keep on getting caught in lies back to back to back, how can the American people ever believe anything that comes out of your mouth? But unfortunately, we do have people that are willing to ignore things, right? They'll just keep on saying, keep on lying to me. You know, I don't want to know the truth. Just keep lying to me. That's not good. That's never good. That's not a life worth living. But how many times it's like the boy who cried wolf, you know, Raven. Yeah. It's like, I don't either. Screaming wolf. Yeah. At some point, it's like the boy who cried wolf. Yeah. That one day when he's actually telling the truth, the town doesn't believe him anymore because he's been doing nothing but lie and say that, you know, wolves are attacking my sheep, right? That at some point, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be truths being said within the Trump administration, but everybody should seriously be side-eyeing everything that comes out of their mouths because none of it's true. None of it is factual. A lot of these things can be debunked in real time. The Epstein files, you look at, you know, the Charlie Kirk investigations, the what happened to, we'll set the Renee Good story in case to the side for a second and just look at Alex Pretti, right? At least that one, you can't argue that they lied. Sure, you can argue whether he was an unhinged individual and he started that ish himself, right? And he got what was coming to him. But one thing you cannot deny is that the Trump administration lied to us, saying that he was brandishing a gun when he never was. And now they're doing everything they can on that one to walk that back and make it seem like, you know, it was a misunderstanding. They're all pointing fingers at each other within the White House rather than taking full accountability for their muck up. Or actually, you know what? They wouldn't have had a muck up if they just actually told the truth to start off with. But they didn't do that, which is wild. So again, when we have the Trump administration coming out here and saying, oh, yeah, you know, well, we have proof of voter fraud, I'm not going to believe it. I'm not. Let's look at this.
Let's get right to our MS Now.
Because people are talking about Tulsi Gabbard being there. And they're like, why is she even there? And what's weird about this is that they're saying, at least in this title, appears to be alone with evidence. Why is she alone with the mother-loving evidence? I'm just saying, the more and more you start asking, we all start asking the right questions. What do you think is going to happen? Right? Why is she alone with this mother-loving evidence? Yeah, I know. Steph, yeah, we already know. We already know. It's already this. Because she's also a Trump sycophant. Okay? She MAGA till she die as well. Okay? Let's be real. I don't trust none of them. I don't trust none of them. Not anymore. Not anymore. They lost me at Epstein, and then they really lost me on that whole situation with Pretti. Sorry. They lost me big time. Okay? So I'm side-eyeing everything. All these mugs. Everyone's a suspect.
Josh Einiger on the ground in Fulton County. Also with us, political contributor Greg Bluestein of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, who is us now. County commissioner says the FBI took pallets of ballots. So what exactly did the FBI take? Because this was an extremely broad search warrant.
It was a very broad search warrant, Anna, and it really had to do with all available ballots from the 2020 election. Notably, they did not leave an inventory list, which is typically the case. So exactly what was taken has not been made public just yet, but pallets of ballots, as you say, according to that source. We are waiting for county officials, as you say, any minute now to address what happened here, and perhaps we'll get more information from them. But let's take a step back for a second. These ballots were only here because of what has been described by a source here in Fulton County this morning as a gadfly lawsuit that was underway and has been underway now for years from someone who still believes in the now discredited theories of election fraud here in Fulton County in 2020. A judge had ordered these ballots, which ordinarily under statute would have been destroyed after 22 months, be held in the building behind me. And so that was why they were here in the first place. And then yesterday, of course, a U.S. attorney in Missouri filed a search warrant. The FBI came here and executed that warrant to take all that material. And they were here for hours taking those pallets away. A little while ago, we spoke with Jeff Duncan, who was the Republican lieutenant governor here in Georgia back in 2020. He's now a Democrat and running for governor. Here's his take on what happened here last night.
There's no fact pattern that shows that this is about facts throughout the entire almost 6 years now. This is about a political vengeance. This is about trying to prove a narrative that's not true.
You know what I'd kill for? I would absolutely kill for a Republican to say this stuff as well. I want to hear a Republican say this. Like instantly I go and I get it. He's going to say what he's going to say. I understand how he feels about this as well, but it'd be different and it would hit different if this was coming from an actual Republican. If a Republican came in and was like, saying this, that, and the third, I think we would all be like, word? We'd all be at the edge of our seat going, wait, yeah, why is this Republican now saying that this is all just one big hoax, right? But that tells you something. I thought this guy's Democrat. I'm gonna look this up.
And quite honestly, I mean, they should have moved on. This isn't about what's good for the country. This is about what's doing good for Donald Trump.
A lot of fears among Fulton County Democrats this morning that all of this is an attempt to sow.
My bad. He is oh snap. He is. That's funny that I said, can I get a Republican? And he happens to be Republican. Oh damn. Oh my damn. Thank you so much for letting me know that. Whoops. That is insane. Elected as a Republican, served as the 12th Lieutenant Governor of Georgia. Wow. So that's coming from him now. The former Lieutenant Governor of Georgia is even saying this is absolute trash. Okay, that's good to hear. I thought he was Democrat. because I saw the D in front. I don't know. I just so he's now a Democrat. Hold on. Let me see more of this. Elected as a Republican. Yeah. Oh, there it is. He recently just changed sides. Wow. He's confusing. So he's confusing. So he was Democrat, or he was Republican. Now he identifies as Democrat. So he's politically fluid, I guess. So now in 25, he's a Democrat. I don't know what to say anymore. How about somebody who is still a Republican? How's that? He's a Democrat now. But I'm saying someone who stayed Democrat. I mean, who stayed Republican, right? Yeah, he bipolitical. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's down for trying everything. You know, he's down for all views. You know, like I said, he's politically fluid, you know? But moving on.
Seeds of discontent and seeds of really make people question future election results here in 2026 and in 2028. Of course, we are waiting, as you point out, Anna, for Fulton County officials, the county, the head of the Board of Elections here to address the press just in the next couple of minutes about perhaps more information about what was taken yesterday. Anna.
Josh Einiger, thank you for that. Keep us posted as you get more information. And of course, we'll be standing by for that press conference with the county officials. Michael, one of the people who's going to be given this briefing is Fulton County Commission Chair Rob Pitts. And about these ballots that were taken, he says, we don't know where they're being taken. We don't know what's going to happen to them. Again, pallets of ballots. How do we make sure these ballots aren't altered?
So normally there is a very strict chain of custody when the FBI seizes items pursuant to a search warrant. And that chain of custody needs to be offered up at court to defense counsel before the evidence is used. And that should list everybody who at any point had the evidence. Now, this is really going to get interesting, and I don't want to jump on something you're probably going to cover in a minute, but there was a pretty notable non-law enforcement personnel person there who was alone with evidence for some time, it appears, based on a photograph we've seen. And I don't know what's going to happen if they try and call her to testify, because she, by dint of her position, should have nothing to do with law enforcement operations whatsoever.
You're talking about Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence who showed up on scene?
Yes, and based on that photo, at one point she was in a truck with box loads of what are apparently ballots, which means if she was alone, she is going to need to be on the chain of custody for those ballots and explain to defense counsel why she was with them and what she was doing. And if there was a special agent in there with her, that special agent is going to be on the chain of custody and is probably going to get asked by defense counsel why on earth somebody was allowed to be with that evidence who is not a member of the FBI nor on the chain of custody.
So, Michael, let me interrupt
way,
you for just a second, and I'll ask you to continue, but we just literally got some information about why Tulsi Gabbard was there. This is per a Trump administration official. Director Gabbard has a pivotal role in election security and protecting the integrity of our elections against interference, including operations targeting voting systems, databases, and election infrastructure. She has and will continue to take action on President Trump's directive to secure our elections and work with our interagency partners to do so. What do you make of that explanation?
It doesn't pass the laugh test for anybody who's actually worked in this world.
Thank you.
And there's a couple reasons for that. First of all, this was collection of evidence. There is nothing there that cannot be reported to called Tulsi Gabbard once they have processed it, analyzed it, and finished doing whatever they were doing on site. Again, it is unheard of for non-law enforcement personnel to take place in the execution of a search warrant. Secondly, this is a criminal investigation. It is looking at past conduct. Even if we believed that Tulsi Gabbard should be involved in law enforcement actions relating to the security of our elections, that is only something that she would be doing if there was something happening presently or in the future. It is inexplicable that there was why she was there. There is literally no legitimate reason that she should have been on site.
There's absolutely no reason. Absolutely no reason whatsoever why she was even there in the first doggone place. She has no jurisdiction. She has no rank. She has no reason to be there. Yet she's there. And let's not forget, she is a MAGA, she is one of Trump's pawns. Okay? One of Trump's players. Why does she need to be there? Why does she need to be there? It's very interesting. Why? I keep wondering. We have yet to see anybody resign because they had to resign, because they just didn't like how things were going on. You know what I'm saying? They didn't like how how the country was being ran. Well, you have somebody like Dan Bongino who stepped down, but there's rumors that it's saying that he did that for the sake of love for his wife, for his marriage, to save his marriage, because his marriage was apparently falling apart because he was basically at the FBI headquarters so much. That's what the rumors are. And he's like, and if you saw how the sausages were made behind closed doors, it would blow your mind. But he hasn't really said I'm stepping down because everything's corrupt. Hell no, he hasn't said anything of that sort, right? But what I mean, no, merge already. I mean, the people who have names. I'm talking the likes of a Tulsi Gabbard or a Caroline or a Pam Bondi or any of these people. They are all desperately trying to hold on to their jobs because they want to please this president as best as they can. I'm sorry. When seeing all this, I just don't trust anything anymore with what's going on out here in these streets. There are so many violations of so many different things. We are seeing criminal acts be done in real time, and nothing's been done about it. We have not seen anyone get hit with any type of charges. We have not seen anybody get in trouble of any sort. It is the wildest thing to witness in real time, that these guys are walking around like they're lawless. They could do whatever the hell they want. They could do all and anything, and they could do no wrong. That's weird. That's weird. Something ain't right here. Now, I do want to share this with you guys too. So Jasmine Crockett apparently went and visited. You remember about the 5-year-old that, there's been a lot of pushback, a lot of back and forth about this, whether or not the boy was left behind by his parents that were trying to flee from ICE, or they were actually detaining him to use him as bait to get the parents. I just leave that on the table. Okay. I leave that for you guys to talk about and fight over. Okay. But nonetheless, he is detained. He's in this facility. A 5-year-old kid is being held in a detention center now. And apparently she tried to visit this 5-year-old at the detention center. Let's take a listen.
For the first time since he was taken by ICE, we have new firsthand information about 5-year-old Liam Conejo Ramos. Now, here he was as we came to know him, a 5-year-old boy with his Spider-Man backpack and bunny hat, swept up when ICE took his father just last week in Minneapolis. Contrast that with our latest photo of him. His father says he does this a lot. He sleeps, which is how 2 Democratic lawmakers saw him at the Texas detention center where he's being held.
I was concerned with, you see how he appears in that photo with his energy. He seemed lethargic. His father said that Liam has been sleeping a lot, that he's been.
By the way, that's a sign of depression, just so you know. That is a massive sign for depression. If he's just sleeping it off, he's lethargic, he's sleeping a lot, etc. He doesn't have the same, bright eyes and energy that he usually does. What a normal 5-year-old kid is like. Endless amount of energy. You got a kid who's just sitting there sleeping a lot. The kid is depressed because the living conditions, I'm sure, are deplorable. And now he's there with his family, locked up. Wild.
Been asking about his family, his mom, and his classmates, and saying that he wants to go be back in school with his classmates. He's asked about his backpack and his cap that he was wearing when they picked him up in Minnesota.
I want to bring in the other lawmaker who got to see Liam, Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. Thank you so much for being here and for helping us to understand what you saw. Do you agree? Were you worried after seeing Liam about his energy, about what he's been through? Tell us your observations.
Yeah, so I want to be clear. I am gravely concerned about Liam, as I am all the children that we were able to see. There was a common kind of note that was struck by every single parent that we were able to speak with. Their concern was for their children. The children right now are depressed. They're not getting any education at all. Many of them are not eating. They are throwing up. We had reports about issues with the water. So we made sure that we actually took a sample of the water for ourselves to be able to test.
Good on you.
But I don't even know if what I saw out of Liam was sleep, because I've dealt with a lot of kids. And when I tried to touch him, tried to move him just to see if I could get his eyes to open, his eyes never opened. We never saw his eyes open the entire time we were there. And he did not necessarily seem like he was asleep. There wasn't kind of the heavy breathing sometimes that occurs when you're asleep. I was very concerned about his appearance, as well as he appeared a bit pale.
I
What do you
agree.
think might be going on then?
Hold on, I'm going to let her finish. But I agree. If you saw that photo, he didn't look like he had the same color in his face, right? He looked very pale. Now that could be just lack of sun and all that, but he did look bad. He does not look. He looks sick. Let's just be real. And again, they say the living conditions are questionable, to say the least, in these detention centers.
I have no idea. I mean, we also talked to the psychiatrist that is at the facility, as well as the nurse practitioner. They indicated that there are a lot of people that struggle with the depression. And Liam's father told us that Liam had been asking about his mom and crying for his mom, who happens to be 4 months pregnant and had to be hospitalized once she received information about what happened to her husband and her child. So, do I believe that he's depressed? Yes. But the reports of children not eating is very concerning. And it seems like the administration there does not want to do anything to kind of make sure that these children are getting at least some of the nutrition that they need.
Well, you and Congressman Castro were very clear. You're calling for his release. Did you get any answers as to why he's still there? And is there any hope of getting him out?
Yeah, basically the answer was our hands are tied. This is, higher than our pay goes, right? Like basically like this is a DC thing. I do want to back up to something you were saying, though, in your previous conversation, as we go through these negotiations and Senate Dems are thinking about what it is that they're going to do. I think that our negotiations should empower the people and should empower the people's attorneys. I don't trust the idea that we should say, hey, don't break the law, and then they're not going to break the law. It's already against the law to do half the things that we're asking them to do. We're basically asking them, please just follow the law. I want to do things like, let's look at a real speedy trial issue as relates to detainees. We have speedy trial for everything else. Let's put some timelines on this. Let's put some more parameters that empower their attorneys to get people out of custody that are suffering right now. Those are the things that we should be doing. We should be working on a pathway to citizenship. We should be using this moment to make sure that we give the resources and tools, not only to make sure that we're keeping our border safe, but also that the resources are there to actually process cases so we know who has real asylum cases and who doesn't. And the final point that I'll make is so many of these people are sitting in custody, and I'm so tired of hearing they're illegal, illegal, illegal. I am tired of hearing they did it the wrong way. That was not the story that I heard from so many people. They were, quote unquote, doing it the right way. They were showing up to their meetings, and then they were being hauled off when they were showing up, or they were showing up to court and they were being hauled off. I am tired of the nonsense. Let's be honest. This administration has decided that it wants to target anybody who has a little bit of melanin in their skin, or target people simply because of an accent. That is not who we are supposed to be as Americans. And it is time for us to call a thing and say that we're going to do better. But right now, I don't trust this administration to do anything that involves them following the law. So the best thing that we can do is empower their attorneys so that when they get to court, because it seems like the only branch of government that hasn't completely failed us right now is the judiciary.
Oh, I love this woman. Oh, man. Can we have more of this? Can we have more of this? Can we have this kind of energy every day? Okay? That's how you drive. Okay? That's how you drive. Period. Damn. But here's the thing. And I'm just going to say this. Okay? I'm going to say it. After seeing what we saw with Alex Pretti, the noise that's been going on out here where people are trying to justify why this 5-year-old boy was detained and put in this detention center, saying that the mom didn't want him and all that stuff. Now I challenge that. Come to think of it, I challenge it. I don't believe it until I see proof. You want to know why? And that might be a very strong statement. F it, I don't care. You want to know why? Because here's the thing. They lied to us about Alex Pretti. They lied to us about details revolving around Alex Pretti. There's no argument about that. Those that are trying to quickly go to their QWERTY keyboard and try to go, I beg to differ. Well, actually, Pascal, they didn't lie. Stop with the mess. They lied to us in 4K in real time. And then we saw the footage. We went through every single angle. Let's just start with the main lie. They said that this man, the most important one, they said that this man was brandishing a weapon, a gun. Not once did we see him holding a weapon and go, ooh, I'm about to pew you. He didn't do any of that. He was holding a phone. So let's start there. If they can lie to us about that, blatantly lie to our faces about that. In fact, let me just say this too, taking another step backwards. You remember while everything is falling apart out here for the DHS, and Kristi Noem is looking like Boo Boo the Fool. She might get demoted. Maybe she might get fired. You got Gregory Bovino, okay, little Bambino Bovino has been fired, okay, or demoted, and he will be resigning here very soon. Aside from them lying, they've been now pointing the fingers at everybody and going, well, we got all that information from ICE. ICE is the people who gave us that information, or the Border Patrol agents are the ones that told us that lie. So we reiterated that lie. So it's all of their fault, right? So if they're willing to believe the Border Patrol and they're saying the origin story, the origin of this lie comes from them, the same information is the same people are giving us information about what actually happened to this 5-year-old boy. Think about it. So if they're willing to lie about what happened to Alex Pretti, they're willing to lie about what's happening to this 5-year-old boy. Sorry. Just saying. So again, now more than ever, before I was like, I'll just leave you guys, to make your decision on that. I'll just sit on the fence and just watch both sides fight each other, being like, no, the parents ran away and they left them there, or no, they used the kid as bait to lure the parents in so that they can detain them, so on and so forth. Nah, I take one side. This side is the fact that, and solely is because we know them as liars. We know that they have lied to us. So why wouldn't they lie about this? Why wouldn't they? There's no camera footage. There's no proof of said thing that I've seen. No one depicting the situation. No one showing an ICE agent walking up to the mother who's 4 months pregnant saying, hey, we'll give you your child back. And her going like, no, I don't want him. I don't want him. That doesn't make any sense. Woman who's 4 months pregnant as well. Her sitting there going, I don't want this child. That makes no sense. So again, if they're willing to lie about Alex Pretti, they're willing to lie about everything else. And if it's not caught on footage, I'm not going to believe it until they show me footage. Let's continue.
Well, one of the things that we've been seeing, and we have gotten numerous reports about, particularly in Minneapolis, is people getting picked up. They say they're citizens. They say they want a chance to show their papers. They want a chance to show their passport. And yet they get sent to Texas. And then even when they're released, as we've heard from family and friends, they have to raise money to get them back, sometimes on flights. Sometimes what they can afford is a bus. I'm curious about the story you heard from Liam's dad and other people inside, other adults inside that facility.
Yeah, so obviously if they're still there, they're not out. We've talked about some of the bond hearings being pushed off over and over and over. They would set them for the bond hearings, then they wouldn't have them. I talked to one family where it was actually a Russian family out of Florida. And, you know, the father actually owns a trucking business, and he's concerned about whether or not his business will still exist when he finally gets back. But he was denied bond. His wife was denied bond. His daughter was denied bond. She's a senior in high school who's looking forward to heading off to college. And his son actually was granted bond. So his son actually recently got out. He then said that in a later bond hearing that had just taken place, actually the morning that we visited, they finally granted them bond, and he was hoping that he was going to be out on today. But they are talking about the strains on trying to get those funds when, again, we're talking about people that were, quote unquote, doing it the right way, and they are trying to do everything that they can to intimidate them. We talked to another woman who was crying profusely, who's from Cuba, and she was saying that basically they twisted her arm and said, if you want to get out, the only thing that you can do is self-deport, and we're sending you to Ecuador. And she was crying and crying and crying, and she had her baby boy who was 2 years old with her. The stories are so wild and far-ranging. Another woman out of Colorado who had been in this country for 7 years. She's Venezuelan. And basically she said that she was told you need to self-deport. And so her and her husband, who had met all of their meetings, had done everything, they were working through their case. And she said that she was then trying to cross into Canada because she had been working with an attorney. They had worked it out where she could go to Canada, and it was at the border that they grabbed her and said no, and said that she was trying to run away from the process. I mean, these are people. In fact, the very first question that I asked when I got in was, how many of these people are, quote unquote, the bad ones? How many of them have criminal records? The answer was none. None. So you have a facility that is full of more than 1,000 people, and they don't have criminal records. This isn't what the Trump administration promised. I think for everyone who was looking to make sure that our country was going to be kept safe, and they may have decided that immigration was their issue, they went with Donald Trump because they felt like he would keep them safe. But instead, he is the one that is bringing crime to our doors. He is the one that is attacking our neighbors and our friends. And frankly, you know, when we talk about the parameters on this particular rogue agency, ICE does not have anything to do with U.S. citizens. The fact that they continue to target U.S. citizens and go after them, again, that exceeds their legal authority. And so I think that the real answers are going to be to empower people to be plaintiffs and be able to sue and get some money back, and making it very clear. That is what we are going to have to do in the law, because just basically telling them that, yeah, follow the law, they're going to ignore us and laugh in our face like they've been doing this entire time. But when a judge is empowered because we have enacted legislation that empowers the people, then we may end up hearing a little bit of a different tune, especially if we can figure out a way to make these rogue officers personally liable under civil liability.
The administration.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a long time till we see something really come of like any semblance of justice with this particular administration. I mean, if you really think about it, it took years for them to charge and convict Trump. Remember that? Remember all that, right? But it didn't happen until after his term, his first term. So I just don't think that we're going to be seeing something like that, like justice being served anytime soon. I just don't. But here's something that's interesting. News Nation just put this up about 4 minutes ago. They're saying that Noam and Bondi were not called to this most recent cabinet meeting that Trump had. And of course, he had this cabinet meeting because he's gearing up for this government shutdown. Remember, tomorrow's the cutoff date, Friday, right? And if they can't see eye to eye and they can't come to an agreement on certain things, especially when it comes to ICE, DHS, more funding for ICE, there will be a shutdown. Like I said, get ready because it's going to happen. The shutdown will happen. It's inevitable because right now you're not seeing a lot of these both sides agreeing on things right now. So as bad as it can be, I know some people are like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Do it. I worry about what's going to happen to the American people. You see what I'm saying? I worry about what's happening and what could come in the following month or in the following months, right? I worry about what could actually happen. You know what I'm saying? That's what I worry about. But let's take a look at this because Noam and Bondi were not there. Interesting.
All right, let's get out to News Nation's Libby Dean there at the White House. All right, Libby, what else can you tell us at this point?
Well, Nicole, I mean, this was the first cabinet meeting of the new year. First time we've seen all of Trump's cabinet officials there by his side answering all of those questions. But going to have to say, Nicole, that the most noteworthy thing out of that cabinet meeting is the fact that the Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, was not asked to speak by the president. But this was that 10th cabinet meeting, comes at that time when the administration was facing these internal, these external conflicts. You're seeing even that external conflict play out with the fact that the Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, didn't speak. And she's also facing these calls from even some Republicans.
Yo, she's getting punished. That's basically it. She's getting punished right now. You feel me? She's getting punished. So is Bondi. Okay. You see Noam just sitting there? Just sit here and look pretty. Don't say nothing. Right? She looks like a fool. I'm sorry. And I think any person would look like a fool if they were caught in 4K like that, in real time like that, lying to the people. Okay? And then trying to point blame on other people. It's Stephen Miller's fault. It's the Border Patrol's fault. No, it's your job to do your own due diligence and look at what's going on. You didn't do that. So now you look like a fool.
To resign, but the president had said that she didn't want Noem to resign, that despite those calls from Republicans and Democrats, that is not something he wanted. But all of that was centered upon DHS's most recent response to that fatal shooting of Alex Pretti in Minneapolis, after we've heard some of those top administration officials like Secretary Noem, who made these broad claims about Alex Pretti's motivations when it came to what happened on the ground in Minneapolis. So that is going to be the noteworthy thing that came out of this, Nicole. The president not turning to Secretary Noem to answer any of these questions, given this internal dialogue and these internal conflicts that have been playing out, because we know Stephen Miller, the deputy chief of staff to the president, as well as the Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, they have now turned to Customs and Border Protection and said that that is where this information came. That day that they came out and spoke about what took place on the ground in Minneapolis, they were calling Alex Pretti a domestic terrorist, saying he brandished a weapon. They're saying that guidance came from Customs and Border Protection.
See?
That is what led to President Trump pulling out Bovino and putting Tom Homan on the ground there. And
You see? They're pointing blame. They keep pointing blame and they keep going down the rank. They keep going down the rank and they're like, well, it's Bovino's fault because he allowed that information to go up to the top. But what's interesting is that it's not only just Bovino's fault. It's also Kristi Noem's fault because she should have done her due diligence. She should have looked at the footage or seen what they were talking about. Even just going in and just it takes 2 seconds to open up your phone and especially something that's gone viral. And all of these live shows, all of these broadcasts that were covering the meltdown that was going on in Minneapolis. It takes 2 seconds to look at the footage yourself and go, oh, snap. Yeah, that's not good, right? But she didn't do that either. So it's on her too, and it's on Stephen Miller as well. Like all three of them should be resigning. They should be stepping down no matter what. But Trump is like, well, we'll just take the bottom of the rung, the bottom rung of this whole, of this whole breakdown. And he will get the brunt of it. But here's the thing. This is not satisfying anybody. It's not. There's a bipartisan reaction right now that are expecting Trump to do something about getting these people, fired so that they don't go out here and spread more lies. So I'm sorry. Yeah, her whole face is a lie. And she's a liar too. The words that come out of that fake face are all lies. At this point now, I don't believe it. I don't believe Border Patrol anymore. I don't believe any agents from ICE anymore. I don't. When you got people out here all within the ranks of this situation doing nothing but lie, especially at a big moment like this, when they should be taking accountability or at least taking the diplomatic route, which is we are doing our due diligence. We are doing as best as we can to get down to the bottom of this, do this investigation. They could have just said that. I know that wouldn't have pleased the American people that much, but at least it would show that they're trying to do their best to give the American people as much truth and transparency as they say that they do for the American people. You see what I'm saying? They go, we're the most transparent, we're the most open administration. This is the most open president ever in the history of presidency. No, that's not true. Like I said, more heads should have rolled, and it shouldn't have just been Bambino Bovino.
Saw that presser play out. And this is really an all-out response here from the White House, Nicole, trying to tamp down these concerns about immigration enforcement, not only in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, across the nation. And that's why you saw Tom Homan be put front and center today, holding that press conference to answer these kinds of questions that the administration is facing. What comes next here in this investigation? Because we've heard President Trump say that he is not going to draw any kinds of conclusions about Alex Pretty's death until that investigation plays out. That kind of rhetoric comes straight from Tom Homan. He is the one who has been saying for months, not only with the death of Alex Pretty, but also Renee Good, who said, let's let this investigation play out before we come to conclusions. But those conclusions, Nicole, were drawn by people like the Secretary of the Homeland. That's Kristi Noem. And it's noteworthy, given all of this internal drama that we've seen play out over the last 5 days or so, it's noteworthy that Secretary Noem did not speak. Now, we did hear, of course, from other officials, people like Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, who provided an update on Israel and Gaza and the second phase of the peace deal there, also on Russia and Ukraine. But the other thing I want to mention, Nicole, that stood out is the president saying that he's going to announce the Fed chair next week. Of course, the current Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, his term isn't up until May. We know also that investigation playing out into that construction here in D.C., but those are the most noteworthy things, Nicole, that we didn't hear from Secretary Noem or even the Attorney General, Pam Bondi. Trump briefly took a turn to the Attorney General, but she didn't deliver any kind of remarks. So no updates about the biggest story of the day that we've been tracking, which is the fact that the Trump administration seems to be trying to de-escalate the situation in Minnesota by putting Tom Homan there, but also not referencing the internal conflicts that are happening with people like the Secretary of the Homeland, Kristi Noem. Nicole?
Now, let me just say this too. They have now made it very, very clear, like Tom Homan, he just had a press conference earlier today, and they made it very clear that they're not really backing out of Minnesota. They're not backing out of Minneapolis anytime soon. In fact, he's going on towards Boston here very soon. And he said, hell is coming to Boston. This is literally what's being said right now, guys. So again, as much as some people are like, yeah, woo, we won, the leftists won, or whatever the hell that they're saying right now. No, that's not the case here at all. They're not going anywhere. Tom Homan ain't going nowhere. It's just going to be more organized. Hopefully. It's going to be less chaotic. But it's not going to be a situation where they're just like gone for good. No. They're still doing what they're doing. ICE is still very prominent out there. Nothing's changed. The only difference is Bovino's gone. Now we got another guy. Where's his face? Now we got another guy that looks like he's smelling his own fart all the time. He's got resting, smelling your own fart face. That's what Tom Homan looks like to me. Does he not look like he, you know what I mean? Like, ugh, that was musty. Ugh. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, Goonies, it gives me the Goonies guy too. Hey, you guys. Yes, give me that vibe too. But more than ever, it gives me that vibe of, ugh, you know? Like that one came from the depths, you know? That one had bass in it. Ooh, damn, you know? But moving on. Kristi Noem is gonna have to deal with her life, deal with her crap.
Either of them on the ground right now. That's why we saw the president decide to send Tom Homan, and we know that Tom Homan is reporting directly back to the president on what is taking place. I think that putting the president on the ground there or Kristi Noem, that would probably escalate things rather than de-escalate that situation there. We know that Trump has been working the phones here from the White House, speaking with the governor, Tim Walz, and the Minneapolis mayor, Jacob Frey. But it seems like the face of the administration on the ground right now, they pulled Bovino out, they put Homan in. That is what they want the focus to be on. Clearly, the White House does not want the focus here on the drama with the secretary. No, but that is not something that.
Yeah, because he's trying to protect her, but also kind of punishing her at the same time. That's basically what it is. Okay. But she, made an absolute fool of herself. Okay. Let's be real. You made a fool of me. Tell me why. She made a very big mistake. And now Trump is kind of punishing her. Now, Homan, they're like, see, we switched out Bovino for Homan. See, he worked for Obama. So you can trust us. He worked for Obama. Some of you guys will like that. So get off our nuts. But here's the thing. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything, y'all. Okay? It's not going to change. Not a damn thing. Okay? Just keeping it real. They're gonna sit her. They're gonna put her on the sidelines for like a few days, like another week. Then there's gonna be another thing that we're all be like, oh my God, in our pearls. Okay. You see what I'm saying? We'll be reacting to that. We'll be looking at Greenland and God knows what with Greenland. We'll be super hypersensitive about whatever the hell is going on next. And then she'll just slide right back in her spot. And like nothing ever changed. Like, I mean, that's how we do. That's how we live. Okay. And that's the other thing too. Did he, Angela? Angela. Come on, Angela. Angela. Really? He did really help write the Project 2025. He used to work with mother-loving Obama. Oh, boy. Well, here's the thing. I feel like Homan, I keep on messing up his last name. Okay. Hamana. I feel like he's going to do. I feel like I'm hoping that it'll be more organized. How's that? Like I'm hoping that that's the case, but only time will tell. He did have a press conference, which we should take a look, a quick look at his press conference. I think we could do that for a few minutes just to see what he had to say. But he's basically saying like, yo, we are not backing down. You think we surrendered? You think that we bounced? You got another thing coming, baby. He ain't done. They ain't done yet. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at this, okay? Press conference from very early this morning. Why did they do it so damn early in this morning? You know what I mean? But nonetheless, he did it. Here we go. Let's take a look.
Right here. Thank you so much, Mr. Holman, Giovanna Delorto with the Associated Press. Based on how you have described these changes in the mission, can you be more specific about the objectives of Operation Metro Surge? If what you have described changes the parameters for interior enforcement only in Minnesota or also in Maine and other places? And finally, when would you consider that those objectives will be achieved and this operation will end? Is it in terms of agents on the ground, in terms of who you are targeting for arrests?
Well, hold on. Let's hear this.
The withdrawal of law enforcement resources here is dependent upon cooperation. Like I said, one agent arresting one bad guy in jail means less agents on the street. We have some agreements. We got more to talk about how we're going to implement these agreements. But as we see that cooperation happen, then the redeployment will happen. Look, target enforcement operations should happen across the nation. That's what we've done for decades. And with target enforcement operations, I've done many of them. It just makes us safer for everybody. When we know exactly what we're looking for, what is his criminal history, what is his immigration history, where's he live, is he in an apartment complex versus a house, has he got a known record for having weapons, it's safer for everybody. Then we know what type of resources we need to go. And, it just makes this operation cleaner, more efficient, and it's proven less violence when we know exactly what we're getting into and we can take the necessary precautions to keep everybody safe. Some of the operations that I've been involved in, we know there's children in the house based on surveillance. So we know you got to be a little bit different when you go in the house because there's going to be children present. So target enforcement operations, the way we've always done it.
Oh.
I think we got away from a little bit. And we want to make sure we do target enforcement operations. And look, I will say it again, we are not surrendering our mission at all.
No. Whoa, he said it like, we ain't surrendering nothing at all. The hell you talking about? Who farted? Did I fart? Damn. Shouldn't have had that red bean and rice. But here it is. You can see for yourself. He's like, nah, man. You think we are surrendering? We ain't doing nothing. We're here. We're here. We're here and we're quick. No, we're here though. And we ain't stopping. How dare you? But here's the thing though. He is saying also it's going to be targeted. Very targeted. So no more will we see, allegedly, will we see them walking up to black and brown individuals sitting in Teslas, charging their cars, asking for their ID. No more shall they be walking over and going, I hear an accent in here. Let me see your papers. No more of that, ladies and germs. Now we will see targeted attacks, targeted individuals from this point on. Yes. And we will be different when there are children involved. Yes, we are different now. For I am here, resting fart face. I am here for good, and I am here for the good. But you think we surrendered? Ha ha! Think again. We shall continue our mission. It just will be like a surgeon's scalpel, not like a sledgehammer. No more. So that's what we're gonna get. Interesting, right? Interesting. Hold on. I want to show you I want to find the beginning when he's speaking, right? The full speech, because I need you guys to see that. But no more. Ha ha! No more. Shall it be a mess? It shall not be a mess. I'm here to clean up the mess, ladies and germs. We are here to get the illegals, and they shall always be targeted. It'll be precise. We won't walk out into these streets no more. No, we shall not. We will not have one boot on that ground without precision and plans. Interesting. Let's take a listen to this.
Too early, isn't it? Look, I've been given talking points, and I don't like reading speeches, never have.
No,
but
so you're just going to shoot it from
I
hip.
did put some stuff down here in writing just to make sure I don't miss anything. So I'm going to be reading a little bit, and then we're going to open up for questions. I've been on the ground less than 3 full days. I got in here Monday. President of the United States called me Monday morning and asked me to deploy here. Got here Monday evening, and I'm staying till the problem's gone. But we've made a lot of progress in the last 3 days. Marcos Charles, he's running ICE operations here. There you go. Rodney Scott, Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection, standing here beside.
Well, I'm sorry, but why does it feel like he's like the mob boss in like the Goodfellas? Doesn't he give you the vibe like, hey, that guy, my fellow over there? Yeah, we're here. Guy over here, guy over there. You know, we do things. We do things here. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't he give that vibe like, you know, I'm cool. I run-ish. That's what I do. You know what I mean? Doesn't that give a little bit? Like, hey, that's my buddy. We went to the titty bar last night. What's up, man? How you doing, man? Yeah. You know what I mean? Doesn't that give you that vibe? Okay, moving on. He king ding-a-ling. He came in swanging, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Good morning. I'm Tom Homan, the Border Czar for President Trump. I'm here on behalf of the President, along with U.S. Commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection, Rodney Scott, and Marcos Charles, who's leading the enforcement effort here right now. I've been on the ground since Monday to regain law and order in the city beloved by many and work together to remove threats from the community. During the past administration, well, I'll remember, more than 10 million illegal aliens entered this nation. Many were national security threats, public safety threats. We can't remember over 2 million known gotaways. 2 million people who paid more to get away. Why? That should scare the hell out of everybody. President Trump promised American people, including the residents of Minnesota, that he would work to ensure our communities are safe. And with that, this administration is absolutely focused on identifying removal aliens that pose a public safety threat and national security threats. And the numbers prove it. The data proves it. In the past few days, I've met with Governor Walz, Attorney General Ellison, Mayor Frey, numerous police chiefs and sheriffs, and I have more to meet. I'll also be continuing the dialogue with business and religious leaders in partnership with Minnesota, your community leaders. I'll be meeting with them too, because I want to hear what they have to say. In my meetings with folks so far, and most important, the governor and the AG, the Mayor Frey, we didn't agree on everything. I didn't expect to agree on anything. I've heard many people want to know why we're talking to people who they don't consider friends in administration. Bottom line is you can't fix problems if you don't have discussions. I didn't come to Minnesota for photo ops or headlines. You haven't seen me. I came here to seek solutions, and that's what we're going to do. And we come a long way, and we got some good wins for the people of Minnesota, I think, and for the administration and for the safety and security of this city. One thing we did agree on, though, everybody I talked to agreed on, was that community safety is paramount. One thing we all agreed on was U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement is a legitimate law enforcement agency that has a duty to enforce the laws enacted by Congress and keep this community safe. Like I've said many times for last several years, even before this administration, jurisdictions that refuse to cooperate with federal immigration authorities are sanctuaries for criminals. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals and endangers the residents of the community. To be clear, we did not agree with Minnesota state and local officials that they would be involved in immigration enforcement. I didn't ask them to be immigration officers. I'm asking them to be cops working with the cops to help us take criminal aliens off the street. What we did agree upon is not to release public safety arrests back in the community, and they could be lawfully transferred to ICE. I'll speak more about that. I will highlight that the Minnesota State Prison System under the Department of Corrections have been honoring ICE detainers. And we appreciate that important collaboration, and we're going to expand upon that. That decision has made Minnesota safer, not only for residents of Minnesota, but the men and women law enforcement, not just ICE, all law enforcement. Rather than arresting the same public safety threat, significant public safety threat over and over again, they agree to work with us to identify those people and remove them. I'm also pleased to announce I had a very good meeting with Attorney General Ellison, and he has clarified for me that county jails may notify ICE of the release dates of criminal public safety risks so ICE can take custody of them upon the release from the jail. And let me tell you why that's important. I know people are a lot concerned about the manpower has been set in law enforcement manpower. Look, I've said this many times before. I've said it for the last several years. Give us access to the illegal alien public safety threat and the safety and security of a jail. It's common sense. It's safer for the community, it's safer for the agent, and it's safer for the alien. Because anything can happen on a street arrest. It just makes common sense. And for the people that argue, well, we're a welcoming community because we want victims and witnesses of crime that are here illegally to feel safe to come to police without fear they're working with ICE. We're not going to talk to the victim and witness of crime. There's no problem there. They should feel safe to come to police and ask for help. All we want is to talk to the person that local and state law enforcement authorities locked in a jail cell. They chose to lock this person up. That's who we want to talk to, the public safety threat. So that argument is that protects victim witnesses of crime. It's a bunch of crap. Victims and witnesses of crime don't want the bad guy back in their neighborhood either. So great progress with the Attorney General and local sheriffs. And one thing, when we have these agreements, it takes less law enforcement agents to do the job. One agent can arrest one bad guy in the safety and security of a jail where he's behind the wire. We know we don't have weapons. But when you normally release that public safety threat, illegal alien back in the community, we have a job to do. We're going to arrest them. So we're going to find them. And what happens is now we got to arrest somebody on his turf. We have access to who knows what weapons. Now we got to send the whole team out. Cover the back door, cover the front door, officer safety reasons. Then because of the hateful rhetoric and the attacks on ICE officers, now we got to send a security team behind the arrest team. So what could have been done with one person in a safety and security jail, now we got 15, 16 people out there doing it. I know that causes stress in the community. So if we get these agreements in place, that means less agents on the street. More agents in the jail means less agents in the street. This is common sense cooperation that allows us to draw down on the number of people we have here. Yes, I said it. Draw down the number of people here. Because we have the efficiency and safety of the jails and the prison. Matter of fact, I have staff from CBP and from ICE working on a draw-down plan. What does that look like based on the cooperation? What does that look like based on how many targets we have left to find? In my meetings with Governor Walz, AG Ellison, and Mayor Frey, as well as state and local law enforcement. Again, I appreciate they all acknowledge that we do have federal immigration laws in this country that have been passed by Congress, and that ICE is in fact a legitimate law enforcement agency charged with enforcing those laws. We're not making this up, folks. ICE is enforcing laws enacted by Congress. They're a federal statute. That said, I'm not here because of the federal government has carried this mission out perfectly. First thing I said to senior staff when I walked in here is what I told you earlier. I didn't come here looking for photo ops or headlines. I come here looking for solutions. I do not want to hear that everything's been done here has been perfect. Nothing's ever perfect, and anything can be improved on. And what we've been working on is making this operation safer, more efficient, by the book.
I'm hoping, unfortunately, I can't play the whole thing right now, but I'm hoping that what he is saying here, at least as far as like keeping things clean and, you know, simple and less violent and more precise. I mean, all we can do is take his word for it. Honestly, I'll believe it when I see it. I don't know this guy from a can of paint. I'm going to be real. I don't know anything about this dude, which I'm going to have to look up some things. I saw some comments in the chat and everything. But the thing is he might be a better choice than Bovino. He might really be an advocate for using proper paperwork, getting the job done in a clean and an efficient way rather than terrorizing the city. That's one thing I think is a huge problem. Let me just make this abundantly clear. I think I've said this I feel like I've already said this a million times, and I'm going to keep saying it ad nauseum. Get the crooks, get the criminals, get the violent, those violent individuals that are here in America that have done terrible things. Because, even myself, I don't want to see that here in America either, right? I don't want that. Neither should you. But leave everybody else alone. Leave everybody else alone. Get the crooks, get the criminals, get the bad people, get them out, right? Let them get justice served to them as quickly as possible. But don't go out here in these streets tearing everybody, every Harry, Dick, and Tom out here that is just trying to make a living and live their lives. That's what I want to hear. And that's what I want to see from under this new leadership. But if he's just going to do the exact same crap, then he's got a whole world of problems coming for him. There's going to be another person that's going to lose their life. I hate to say that, but there's going to be another person that's going to lose their life once again because of how things are being done out here in these streets. So if he makes things worse, we're going to see very quickly. But if he's able to tighten things up, then we'll see that too. Because if they're doing it in a more efficient way, then yes, there will be less. There will be less carnage, maybe less protests out there in the streets. I think there always will be, especially in light of how they started this conversation, how they started this whole situation. I think there will always be demonstrations, right? But I think they're going to have to be a little bit more stealthy when it comes to their operations. But those stealth operations need to be done like they're targeting a particular person, not just pulling over somebody because of the color of their skin. That's the biggest problem. That is a huge problem that a lot of people are having. Oh, don't go door to door to people's homes, terrorizing people in Minneapolis. How about that too? Stop using administrative warrants and use judicially signed warrants to be able to raid these particular people's homes, not administrative warrants, because that makes it seem like they could just get anything signed and do whatever the hell they want. Do all those things and go with absolute precision. And then we'll see what's going on. Then we'll see if the general public are actually going to trust the leaders and the powers that be. That's what I'm waiting for. So I'll believe it when I see it. Let me get some of these super chats. Beautiful Disaster, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. All they have done is lie. Their track records. Yeah. They have track records of just doing nothing but lying. And we got a new face here. Well, you know what I mean? New face in this particular era, in this particular time, right? I know he used to work for Obama. We should like him because he used to work for Obama. It doesn't mean a damn thing. He's working for Trump now. That's a massive difference. We'll see what actually happens here, right? We will see. But I believe when I see it, guys. Reed, thank you so much for the love. Did you hear about the ICE agent who had a seizure? No, I didn't hear about that at all. The uncuffed female detainees saved him. Wow. Let that sink in. Video out there. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to see if I can find it. Not right now. I got to wrap up, unfortunately, but I will look for it, and we might have to bring it up and talk about it on the show. Rod, what's up? Thank you so much for the love. The entire admin, the administration, and their stooges are Timu. That's funny. Yeah, it's Timu. It's Timu. You know what I mean? Oh boy. Rod again. Thank you so much, Pascal. You follow Mercado Media. I think I've seen it in the past. Far Right flew to Minnesota yesterday to make videos outside his apartment threatening him. Interesting. Oh, you're talking about the agitator, that guy who was walking around being like, "This the white man is going to take America back." That dude, that piece of trash with the trying to look like Captain Jack Sparrow, Johnny Depp looking ugly ass mother lover that was standing outside of that. I saw a video. I didn't see it, but I saw it on X, like scrolling through. I didn't know what the heck was going on, but yeah, like he was apparently doxing the guy, which is insane, right? Now he has to move for safety. I know, I get it. That's crazy that he's like, yo, you see this apartment right here? You see this door right here? This is where one of these anti-ICE protesters lives. That's dumb. Now that guy's could face charges for doing what he did. But that's how unhinged and crazy people are out here in these streets. And we're seeing it on both sides of the fence. We're seeing anti-ICE protesters losing their doggone minds. And we're seeing these pro-ICE individuals that are basically alt-right fascist little bees, all right? They out here acting the damn fool too. That guy's a piece of work, that guy. And yeah, those charges couldn't come fast enough, in my personal opinion. But moving on. Thank you so much, Truth Teller. I appreciate the love, the euros. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Shreka, thank you so much for the love. Hi, Pascal. FYI, I have seen you at the Cedar Lake. Oh, yes. Yes. Took a pic with you. Wanted to thank you for all you do. Keep up the great work. Much love from the STL. By the way, my name is pronounced Sharika. Oh, did I say it? Oh, I remember before because I was like, is it Shreka? And I was like, I'm sorry. Yes, I said it right this time, though, without even seeing the pronunciation phonetically. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much for the love. Yes, it was great meeting you back then. Thank you so much for the love. Norman, thank you so much for gifting. Norman, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. And Debbie. Thank you so much, Debbie, and being a fantastic mod as always. Thank you guys so much for 10 memberships. All y'all, welcome to the family. All you crazy new all you crazy new members, family members. Appreciate you guys. Please show some love. Put some purple heart emojis in the chat if you can do that, or just heart emojis is fine too. To Norman and Debbie. And again, all I ask for you guys to do is pay it forward. It's a very simple ask. Okay. Open the door for somebody. If it's still snowing, like snowy out there, and you got this is going to sound crazy, but just rock with me for a second. If you got a neighbor, right, that may not be super able-bodied, maybe they're elderly, and you got a neighbor and say their sidewalk or their front like stoop is covered in snow, maybe just go over there and shovel their snow. Real quick, it takes what? couple minutes to do it. You know, you burn some calories so you can continue looking slim thick out here, you know. But, you know, a lot of snow out here. And it looks like we might be getting more snow, or some areas are about to get hit with more snow here very soon. So again, you know, maybe just pay it forward. Do something nice for somebody. Open the door for somebody. I know that for some people be like, ooh, my back, my neck and my back with the shoveling of snow. But it would be nice, I'm sure, for them to just open up the door and it's shoveled. You know, they don't even need to know. Unless they're like seeing you and they're pulling out the heater like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you don't want that. We live in a weird time. Okay. People are getting shot for pulling their cars into driveways just to bang a Yui. You know what I'm saying? So again, be careful. Maybe it might be better just to ask for permission, okay, than forgiveness, because you might get a few holes in your body. All right. But just pay it forward. Okay. We need more niceties in this world. That's one thing that we definitely need. Norman, again, thank you so much for gifting another membership. So 11 new members. Wow. Welcome to the family, all you 11 crazy cats and kittens. I don't know why I thought of, I don't know why. Carol Baskin. I don't know why that just popped in my head. But just ride with me, okay? But thank you. Okay. Michelle, thank you so much for the love. Tom, I guess Tom said before he's for racial profiling. If he said that before, then that's not good. That's clearly not good. But like I said, let's see what happens here. That doesn't make me happy at all. That concerns me. Because again, like I said, he already said hell is coming for Boston. He already said that. He already said that. With his resting fart face. He already said that. Hell is coming for Boston. So his next project, his next focus is Boston. Or Boston. Okay? Park the car and have a yard. Boston. So I worry. I worry big time, but let's see what happens. I just hope it doesn't rev up even more. My dear God, what's up, Norman? Damn, Norman, thank you so much for 10 new memberships. Damn, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome to the family, all of y'all. Damn, thank you. Holy crap. I appreciate the love, man. Thank you so much. And welcome to the family, all of y'all. Give some Purple Heart emojis to Norman. That really means a lot, y'all. But unfortunately, I got to wrap up the show, okay? So that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back on this evening. Something completely different. You'll see. Hopefully, if everything goes according to the plan. So stay tuned. I'll see you this evening. And we'll talk then soon, too. So hit that like button down below. Crush the do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you hit that follow button. Subscribe here on my main channel, right here on YouTube. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Sorry, just checking the time. The Pascal Show Clips. All right. Hit that notification bell on both those channels so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it is random. All right. Hit that join button down below. Like a lot of y'all just got gifted memberships, which I really appreciate. Okay. Thank you so very much to both Debbie and Norman. Really means a lot. Thank you, guys. But hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out that Patreon. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. We'll talk soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.